So Brooke Shields is back for another Netflix rom-com. The last one that took place in some Scottish castle wasn't very good. Now, though, she's starring alongside Benjamin Bratt, Miranda Cosgrove, and Rachael Harris in Mother of the Bride. It sounds like it could be a retelling of the Steve Martin classic, just from a different viewpoint. It's not, though. So are you going to want to put this one on your wish list? Lana's daughter Emma returns from abroad and drops a bombshell. She's getting married in Thailand in a month. Things only get worse when Lana learns that the man who captured Emma's heart is the son of the man who broke hers years ago. Alright, so if you're into Munchies, stick around to the very end because I do have a new one to try out. Alright, so the synopsis of this sounds a bit convoluted. Setup and the premise, though, they're very, very straightforward. Brooke Shields plays Lana, a mom whose daughter is getting married to the son of her college sweetheart. Now, naturally, this establishes some conflict and probably awkward situations. Cosgrove is Emma, the daughter, and she's fine in this. I mean, she's kind of like a grown-up Carly who's just less snarky, but still more driven. And the whole film, I think, is geared more towards the Gen X audience than the younger, early 20-ish crowd. That's not to say that they can't enjoy it also, but the soundtrack and even situations, including the cheesy humor and just the setups, they're all designed for those of us that are hovering around that 50-ish mark. Benjamin Bratt, Wilson Cruz, and Michael McDonald, along with Harris and Shields, they all make for relatable friends with lighthearted camaraderie and some silliness. You know, they reminisce, drink a little too much, but generally have fun with the requisite veers into conflict or drama to add just a dramatic arc to the storytelling. Now, there's nothing new in this movie that you haven't seen countless times before. I think, though, when going into a rom-com, you kind of need to expect that. What I always hope for is if the narrative can provide anything memorable, fresh, or especially cute. Now here, the time that makes this feel a little different from others is that we get more than one sequence of misunderstandings that then leads to drama and or hurt feelings. And these are played up to be much more dire than they really are, but the entire film, it's just low stakes, so the exaggerated drama, it is a little fun. And I really appreciate, though, that there's not a ton of bravado within that exaggeration. I mean, it's not like conflicts are blown up to such a degree that they become uncomfortable or angry. They create minor strain, especially between Shields and Cosgrove, and then Shields and Bratt. Now, the outcomes, they're predictable and obvious, but they resolve in satisfying ways to keep this enjoyable. Not all of the humor lands, but there are some wonderful snarky asides that Harris, McDonald, Cruz, even Bratt get to sneak in. They're typically subtle and more of an aside, but because they're not mean-spirited, instead just maybe a bit cringy and witty, they made me chuckle off and on. As is probably expected based on the movie title, this is mainly focused on Shields and her interactions rather than putting all of the attention on Cosgrove and her impending nuptials. And Shields, I think she's good in the role. She can be a bit overdramatic, but never diva-ish or outlandish. She's grounded and convincingly portrays a protective mother who is also trying to navigate newly unearthed feelings that had been buried many years prior. And this touches on themes of what could have been, as well as regretting actions from the past, especially those that one isn't really proud of. And with that, we also get to see if the characters have grown over time. Now, we don't see them when they're young, we don't watch progressions over the years, but from the conversations and the emotions, we get a good sense of what was and then can compare it with what's occurring in front of us in the present. And this dynamic worked for the story, and it allowed for a better connection with our characters. Now, there's a side storyline involving Chad Michael Murray that I don't think needed to be included at all, especially because there were already a few plot complications at work, so this one just felt added with little return. I mean, it's not like his involvement is detrimental to the storytelling, it's extra, so to remove it, it's just not going to change much. Now, the film clocks in at 88 minutes, so it's the perfect length for a rom-com. We get establishing introductions, and then some background development over subsequent conversations, so the exposition, it doesn't feel forced or oddly placed. And for this, we don't need depth on each character to understand who they are and where they're coming from. I mean, in quick succession, we're given the context we need, and then we can go right along with the story. The locations are beautiful, which adds visual interest to a story that otherwise could be bland, as it literally could take place anywhere. Setting is Thailand, and between the coastal views, the tropical-ish images, and the backdrop of this posh resort, this creates a quaint and relaxing atmosphere that complements the easygoing style of the narrative. If you're looking for more than a simple fun time with several chuckles and some witty banter, this isn't the right movie for you. The characters are charismatic, endearing, and they gel well together, creating a believable, long-lasting friendship. The story arcs are obvious, and they tick just about every box necessary for a rom-com. And while character development is thin, some story additions like Chad Michael Murray's character are unnecessary, and then certain plot pressures are vaguely defined and just generally uninteresting, especially with Miranda Cosgrove's business ventures. There is still a feel-good aura surrounding the storytelling, crafting a light and pleasing romance. And probably the most surprising thing about this entire movie is how ripped Benjamin Bratt and Wilson Cruz are. For being above 49 years old, they are in fantastic shape. So if you need a pick-me-up story that can add a smile to your face and not take up too much of your time, definitely put this one on your list. It is not the best rom-com ever made, but it is very, very far from the worst. And come on, you know what you're getting into just seeing the cast. It's a simple and fun casual watch. There's no sex or nudity, tiny bit of profanity, and then no violence. I give Mother of the Bride 3.5 out of 5 couches. I'm a sucker for fun romances, and there are a ton that I just naturally love. Do you have any that are your absolute go-tos when it comes to rom-coms? For me, Leap Year, The Proposal, most recently Anyone But You, they're very rewatchable for me. Now, I'd love to hear yours in the comments below. All right, so if you were hanging on for a munchie, I have got this one. It is Hammond's. It is a chocolate bar, and it is called Pigs and Taters. Milk chocolate with bacon-flavored bits and potato chips. I picked this up at a local bookstore. Go figure, right? But they do have a website, Hammond's Candies, hammondscandies.com. So it's made in the U.S. This is not an ad. This is not sponsored. I bought this, paid for it. Let's see how it is. I prefer dark chocolate over milk chocolate, but hey, you know what? It has bacon and potato chips in it. So let's see. All right. Doesn't look anything. There we go. Yeah. Doesn't look anything special. It definitely has a smoky flavor, like the hickory or something, like where the bacon would come from. Almost like a campfire-ish smell. I hope that's not too strong. Let's see. It's hot here in California, so the bar is kind of melted, but The overwhelming taste is campfire. I can't taste the chocolate very much. I definitely don't taste the potato chips at all. I think I'm crunching through that, but I could be crunching through bacon. I don't know, but it is a very, very strong, smoky taste, which maybe wouldn't be bad for bacon, but for a candy bar, it's a little overwhelming. I would go... I mean, this isn't disgusting. It's like not like I wouldn't eat it ever again, or finish this bar, because come on, I'm going to. But it's not something that I would seek out every single time, and I think it will take me a little time to get through, because this is not one, thanks to the smokiness of that. Yeah, just a little overpowering. So there you go. Hammond's Candies, Pigs and Taters. If you want to try something new, I have another one from this same company that I'll try in a later video sometime. If you enjoyed this, give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.